Hi, my name is Audrey Fuqua, and welcome to my third vlog where we will be discussing our DEI book chapters 3 and 4. I want to start off with a quote from President John F. Kennedy that was located in the book, where he says, "We were confronted primarily with the moral issue. It is as old as the scriptures and as clear as the American Constitution. The heart of the question is whether all Americans are afforded equal rights and equal opportunities, whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we wanted to be treated. 100 years of delay have passed since President Lincoln freed the slaves, yet their heirs, their grandsons, and are not fully free. They are not free from the bonds of injustice, and this nation, for all its hopes and all it boasts, we will not be fully free until all of its citizens are free." And says to this, diversity and inclusion are key business outcomes that will enable innovation, increase productivity, and ultimately support our bottom line. When we can bring all of our authentic selves to the workplace, each and every one of us, and that in self is a return on investment and an indication that we've truly built a culture of inclusion, belonging on top of solid foundation of equity. So some of the things that caught my attention were, she made a few comments like the mistakes from our predecessors regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then also the discussion about an encounter group. So when I was in my bachelor program, my undergraduate program at Cal State Fullerton, we had a class that was called Character and Conflict, and I feel like it was similar to the encounter group where we had to discuss interpersonal topics with. So the takeaways that were summarized in chapter 3 were that the early case studies show that even well-resourced DEI initiatives could fail if executed poorly. Effective programs existed but were assailed and dismantled. And, I agree, but like with DEI before, when she was discussing the civil rights movement, I think there was a different type of effort behind that movement. That was the first movement for African Americans for equal rights in the United States that had the participation of the majority of African Americans for equal rights in the United States. So I think that was executed perfectly in that aspect. Maybe not perfectly, but a little bit close to there. And then moving on to chapter 4, there's some of the discussion was, one thing that caught my attention too was the EEOC and how they are an underfunded agency and they only get 7% of their cases legal accountability occurs. And then with the majority of them, there's either retaliation or loss of their jobs. Goes on to say too, though, that with, I did notice the terminology during and after COVID, basically more so. A little bit before COVID, but then really after COVID, because before COVID, there was diversity, that word was there. But then diversity, equity, inclusion was incorporated into, I believe almost everything. They were looking for key pop out words and resumes and mission statements and just everything. I believe after 2020, it was just like a hot topic everywhere. And so what she's talking about a little bit in chapter 4 was just saying during that time where that became like a hot button topic is true. I witnessed it. I mean, I was there live. And so what she goes on to talk about, I'm going to kind of summarize it in my words. She said that it was like some things could be considered performative, which yes, performative in the aspect of like corporations want to keep their people, they want to keep their clients, they don't want to be in the cancel culture, they don't want to be a part of that narrative that was going around because everything and everybody was being canceled for whatever reason. True or false, it would travel on Twitter, it would travel on Instagram, and before you know it, you're in the hot seat and there's no way out. And it was live action. And so I think that some things were performative when it came to corporations or stakeholders in the corporation or whatever it is, that at the end of the day, depend on diversity, equity, and inclusion to keep the wheels turning and the ball rolling. So with that, I do agree that some things were performative. I also think that real change needs to have real quality real change has to have, regarding diversity, equity, inclusion, needs to have real authentic answers, and everyone needs to be on board. If you don't get everybody on board, I think that's where the difficulty comes in. Thank you. And with that, you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on vlog number 4.